Okay, welcome back. Week 7. This is Adam Stoughton. I'm your AER220 instructor and like to cover what we're going to be going over in week 7. Now, it's a big week, and when I say that, it's because there's an actual stage exam this week. Now, I don't know if you remember from the first stage or not, but stage exams are actually written tests on the Jefferson Ground School that need to be proctored. What proctored means is you actually have to come in and have somebody observe or at least monitor you while you're taking the test. It's really not that big of a feat. Your instructor can do it as well as the front desk support staff. But you need to set up a time to come in and do that. Work with us and we'll make sure you get it done. So don't do that on your own. Okay, so to be completed this week, you're going to read Chapter 8A. Your ground lessons are going to include ground lesson 21 as well as 22, and we're getting into VORs and NDB approaches. Now, the term NDB approach can often be a horrific term to people because an NDB approach is an old style approach that's really not in use nearly as much as it used to be. When I went through training, I had to learn how to do an NDB approach, and I actually got pretty good at doing it. It's really good for situational awareness. If you can look down at an ADF or NDB indicator inside the aircraft, it can actually give you instantaneous situational awareness. Now, as we go through with RNAVs in GPS equipped aircraft, you'll notice that situational awareness with nothing but a needle pointing in the direction of a station is not as valuable as it may have been. But alas, it's in the material, and I actually think it's pretty worthwhile to at least know how it exists. Most of the aircraft that CAU fly do not have an NDB or an ADF built into them. ADF stands for Automatic Direction Finder. Since they're classic instrument tools, most of our aircraft won't have them because we have the newer upgraded GPSs within them. Now, the discussion post that you'll be looking at is concerning a DME arc scenario. So you're actually on a DME arc and a situation occurs and how you're going to handle that. Now, when you go into this discussion post, I encourage you to think about both what would happen if that occurred as well as what you think should happen if that occurred. For example, you might not handle it in flight in reality the way it would be handled in a textbook. So I wouldn't mind seeing your comparison and contrast on that as well. So as we go into the content, you're going to look at VOR approaches and keep in mind that VORs require advanced interpretation techniques. They're not nearly as simple as a GPS with a moving map overlay. You're going to have to understand what it means when you get to from, as well as which side of the VOR that puts you on. And this is beyond what you learn in private. And it comes very handy, especially when you start doing the VOR holds, which you have little exposure to at this point. But the same kind of technique and process is used for the VOR approaches. So I also encourage you to think about, as you're shooting a VOR approach, what you should be expecting next on interpretations. When you should expect that needle to go from to from, or it should switch from left to right, or you should have your CDI indicator spun to what, and what you should expect when you actually spin your CDI indicator to that. That's how I know you're getting to be a very good instrument pilot. It means you have good situation awareness if you know what to expect as opposed to what just happened. Now on top of that, you will go into NDB information. So kind of enjoy it for the ride that it is. Sometimes on the knowledge test, NDB questions are on there. I think they're getting fewer and fewer now. But within the Jefferson, it still does have it until they phase those out. If we're at the point where those are phased out, that's great. You won't have any questions for that. But the textbook definitely has the information in there. And the situational awareness for an NDB can be very challenging. Please don't lose sleep on that. Don't stay up late trying to figure out exactly how an NDB works with the situational awareness. Just have a general idea and a general concept, and that's good enough for the course. So, as I wrap up for week 7, I hope you enjoy learning more about advanced VOR interpretation for the approaches and what's required. And I'll talk to you again when you get on to week 8.